Hello and welcome to Reel on this very special day for the Catholic Church. 1 month after a crowd of more than 1 million young people filled Rome for the 2025 Jubilee of Youth, the Church's mission to inspire the next generation is set to gain new momentum with today's canonization of Carlo Acutis and Pier Giorgio Frassati. Pope Leo XIV will preside over this first canonization Mass for him, declaring sainthood of 2 young Italians whose devotion to the Eucharist nourished a deep involvement in the cultures of their day. Steve Kiltonic reports.
The much-anticipated canonizations of Carlo Acutis and Pier Giorgio Frassati have finally taken place in Rome. Acutis had originally been scheduled for canonization April 27th during the Jubilee of Teenagers, but was postponed following the death of Pope Francis. Frassati was to have been canonized in August during the Jubilee of Youth, until the Vatican announced in June that both men would be jointly canonized the same day. Although they lived in different eras, both shared a love for the Eucharist, a love for the poor, and a love for the Virgin Mary. Born in 1991 and raised in Milan, Italy, Acutis created an online exhibit of Eucharistic miracles and used his technical skills to evangelize. He was also noted for his joyful faith and compassion for others before leukemia took his life in 2006 at the age of 15. Acutis is the first millennial to achieve sainthood. Frassati, born in 1901 into a prominent family in Turin, Italy, was known for his deep spirituality and enthusiasm for life. He died in 1925 at the age of 24 after contracting polio. Last April, in anticipation of Blessed Acutis' canonization, Springfield Bishop William Byrne offered a votive Mass at the Dominican Nuns Monastery in West Springfield. Members of the Springfield Diocesan Youth Ministry attended the Mass, which was held on the same night that the documentary film Carlo Acutis: Roadmap to Reality premiered locally at the Cinemark theaters. Many watched the film after Mass. Bishop Byrne offered 3 takeaways of Acutis.
Just remember the quote he said, "The Eucharist is my highway to heaven." First thing, holiness is possible at any age. You don't have to have advanced fancy degrees. Number 2, the Eucharist needs to be the center of our lives. He said, we're all born originals, but most of us die as photocopies. He was a teenager who wasn't trying to be just like every other teenager, making sure that he lined up and was part of the photocopy culture. But no, he was himself. And the Eucharist was the source of that individuality.
Bishop Byrne's final take was something we can all learn from.
Let social media be a tool that you use that doesn't use you.
Tim Moriarty was the producer, co-director, and writer of Carlo Acutis: Roadmap to Reality. His company, Castletown Media, partnered with Wall Street Productions to create the documentary. The film included biographical sketches of Acutis' life and legacy, but Moriarty wanted to also explore some of the tough challenges today's youth face as they navigate digital technology and the virtual reality world.
How do we help young people who are struggling with mental illness, who are struggling with depression, with a sense that the faith doesn't really make sense to them? So those were really questions that we set out to explore in this film, to sort of say, what does Carlo mean? Why this is the first millennial saint? Well, what does he mean for our current cultural moment?
The film follows a group of high school students from North Dakota on a pilgrimage to Rome, which included visits to Acutis' tomb in Assisi and a church where a Eucharistic miracle occurred. Students were required to disengage from technology and leave their phones home. During the 2-week journey, students commented on their lives, the role faith plays, and what Acutis means to them. It ended up being a transformational experience for many. Interviewed were Carlo's family, including his mother and father, friends and relatives, along with scholars and medical and tech experts.
There wasn't anything in particular about Carlo that was extraordinary or spectacular, but what was extraordinary was this rich spiritual life that he had and his capacity to be present to people in the ordinary moments of life.
Moriarty believes Acutis can be an antidote for the ills of today's generation and saint for our time.
You cannot kill that desire for God, and I think we're going to see more and more young people, I think, returning to the richness of the faith. And somebody like Carlo is a great guide for that.
The recent Steubenville East Catholic Youth Conference in Springfield attracted 1,300 Catholics from across the Northeast and beyond. The youth rocked to praise and worship music, heard inspirational speakers, and attended Mass, confessions, and various workshops. The teens I spoke with at Steubenville were extremely excited about the canonization and ultimately agree that Saints Acutis and Frassati will be inspirational role models for the youth.
It really helps with the youth because I feel like we can relate more to them. They were our age, basically, and it looked like they had such a deep relationship with God that it's really inspiring for even me.
To have a saint that was actually lived in our time, had phones, the internet, all these things that distract us from God, and he used it for good.
I think it's just very inspiring for a teen so young to just, especially with having leukemia, just him being able to open his mind and his heart to the Word of God and being able to just be a light of the world for the teens.
It just shows like the reality of that God is still working even in modern day young people to help make them saints, and especially through the Eucharist.
Pier Giorgio Frassati's faith was the cornerstone of his life. He regularly attended Mass, spent hours in adoration, and was devoted to the Blessed Virgin Mary, joining the Marian Sodality as a teenager. Frassati was involved extensively in charitable work, often helping the poor and sick in the community. He was known for his infectious joy, humor, and pranks. Frassati was passionate about mountain climbing, and on his last climb wrote the phrase verso l'alto, which means to the heights.
Frassati was such a unique person in that, yes, he was going to daily Mass, yes, he was experiencing the Eucharist kind of on a daily level, but at the same time, he was an outdoor enthusiast. You know, he was climbing up these big mountains, and he was having fun with his friends, and he was a big kind of a socialite, had lots of fun activities that he was involved with. So he just showed that, you know, he was just a normal, average guy who was also really into his faith.
On the campus of Thomas Aquinas College is a century-old red brick building once known as the Tracy Student Center. Renamed after Frassati in 2022, students study, socialize, and attend many campus activities here during the year. In 2023, the college wanted to commemorate the building with a painting. Courtney Giovinazzi, a mother of 2 Aquinas students and an artist from Maine, volunteered her talents to create a portrait-style painting of Frassati in oil on canvas. The painting was destined to rest above the center's fireplace in a dark space, and the college wanted it visible from across the hall, which meant it had to be bright.
He's a handsome man, he's also a rugged man. So I wanted to have both those things, not knowing exactly what he looked like. And there were no color images.
She discovered Frassati loved the outdoors, especially mountain climbing.
He would bring a priest and they would say Mass before they climbed, and they would pray the rosary and they climbed. But he was a young, adventurous man, and he loved to play jokes with his friends. So I wanted to have that playful look and not have him too stern and stoic.
Courtney worked on the painting in her spare time, little by little, piecing it together in her studio. After 2 years and a number of revisions, Courtney felt she finally had a piece that captured his spirit. The painting shows Frassati on a rocky hillside, a hint to his passion for climbing, displaying a warm, inviting grin that speaks to his mischievous spirit. The rosary beads reflect his unwavering faith. Last November, at the campus-wide Thanksgiving dinner, the painting was unveiled by Dean Stephen Kane and blessed by Father Markey.
I am just happy, to be honest with you, that the school is happy. That's the goal, is to be able to leave something that is well suited for a space.
The patron saint of youth will hopefully watch over and intercede for students at the college for many years to come. Saints Pier Giorgio Frassati and Carlo Acutis, together lighting the way for a new generation of Catholics. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
2 great inspirations for the church, for sure.